Alright, so today we're going to talk about how to use the TI graphing calculator to solve equations for both x and y. So when you turn them on, down here in the bottom screen, down here we turn it on, and we can hit clear to get out any calculations we might not want, but we go to y equals if we want to draw something. So we press the y equals button. If you see anything in your screen, then you press clear to clear it out. Okay? You should see y equals over here to the side. And so you're able to enter equations. So if we want to enter our first equation here, y equals 2x minus 4, we can just press the number 2. And then the x we're going to use is right here beside the alphabet key. This is the variable key. When you change your mode, the other letters you see might show up, but if we just press it right now, it's going to be an x. And then subtract 4. So subtract 4. And then if we just press graph, we'll roll the dice and see where it shows up. Pretty well. Now you may notice mine is not exactly centered. That 0, 0 is not in the center of my screen because my window has been changed at some point. Maybe you have your window changed so much you can't see it at all, or maybe it's right in the middle. The quickest way to find that middle value on the TI to return this window to center is to go to zoom. And then the sixth thing, standard, means standard window, which is what you're used to seeing on your worksheet. So if we just press the number 6, then it centers it back up for me. The standard window goes from a maximum y of 10 and a smallest y, a minimum y of negative 10, and then a maximum x of 10 and a minimum x of 10, negative 10, sorry. Alright, so now that it's here, we can do work with it. So the first thing we'll learn how to do is find x if I give you a y value. So find x if y equals 7. Alright, well, we just learned where y's go in the calculator. We saw that whole long list of y equals, and we put this one in y1. Well, if we have a different y, then we can use a different y. We can put it in y2. So let's repeat ourselves. Let's go back to y equals, because we have another y to put in. Let's just arrow down to the next available spot, and we'll type our 7 there. That's how you tell the calculator you want to equal 7. You hit graph again, and now 7 drew in. Alright, from our study of systems of equations, I hope that you know that the intersection is our target point. So if we know this place, we know the answer. It looks between 5 and 6, but we can get better than that if we just use the calculator. So where do you find the intersection on this calculator? Alright, so it's in calculate right here. We're trying to calculate an x value. So we're going to go to second and then press your trace button to get into the calculate menu. So let me write that down for you. Second and then the trace button. We do that because it says calculate above it. In the calculate menu, hey, there's the word intersection almost. They just didn't write the ION part. So we can just press the number 5. And the TI asks questions. That's why it's going to be a little bit slower than your friends with Casios. It asks you, is this the first equation? Yep, that's what I put in. Enter. Now it asks you, is this the second equation you were using? And you say yes by pressing enter. And then it asks you to guess, which you do not have to do. So you can just press enter to make that go away. And then it locates the answer at, sure enough, it was between 5 and 6, 5.5. 1, y is 7, x is 5.5. So let's see, we typed the number 5 to get to intersection, and then we pressed enter 3 times. The reason it asked this question is we could have many equations in the calculator at one time, and we could find the intersection of any 2 of them because we could just choose the correct one when we were going through those first curve, second curve, guess steps. We could pick 2 different equations. But since we only have 2 in there, we just press enter 3 times to get the questions to go away, and it gives us our answer. All right, let's try that again with a different y value. Find x if y equals -3. So we just press y equals again. Leave the 2x minus 4. We're still in that first equation, but go down to the 7. And you can either press clear to get rid of it, or you can type -3 over the top of it. Press graph again. They cross each other. If you can see where they cross each other, the calculator will find the answer. So here's our steps again. Write these down in your notes if you haven't. Second, trace, and then the number 5, because that says intersection. And then we're going to press enter 3 times to select the first equation, the second equation, and then to get rid of the guess. So this time, when y equals -3, x is 0.5, or 1/2. All right. So, how do I use my calculator to find y values when they tell me an x in my math problem? Well, we have to do it a different way, because in y equals we can only put y values. So I'm going to keep my 2x minus 4, but I'm going to clear out the -3, and then I'm going to redraw it. When we are finding y values when they tell us an x value, we do that while looking at the graph. So while looking at the graph, you need to press the trace button. Last time we pressed second and trace. This time no second, just you want to trace. Tracing is what we want to do. Now with tracing, you can go right or left, and it'll get close to specific numbers, but notice all these big long decimals. It doesn't get to whole numbers, integers, very often. If you needed to find a specific number, you don't have to try to guess it by inching up to it. You just type in the specific number. So if I wanted to find x equals -7, I'm just going to type -7 after I pressed trace. And when I press enter, it'll tell me the matching y value, -18. So let's see, I press trace. I type in my x number. So type in my x value, and then I press enter. And it jumps to the answer, y equals -18. Now the cool thing about the calculators and trace is you can trace as many numbers in a row as you want to. So if I need to find x equals 3, I don't even need to press trace again unless I clear it out. I can just press 3, it changes it for me, I press enter, it does it again. So y equals 2. Now if y needs to be 8, I just press 8 because I didn't clear anything out, changes the x value, gives me a new y value. So that's helpful if you need to fill out a table using an equation or a formula, say in science class. You could enter the equation into your graph, even if you don't need to see the graph. For your worksheet, you can put the formula in Y1, draw the picture, and then use trace to plug in your values and have your calculator do the work for you. If you don't need to show your work, this is a big time saver. Okay, and again on the MCA and the ACT, you don't need to show your work. So if you do need to plug in an x value, this may be the way you want to do it. All right, stay tuned for the next details.